You probably took off.
I got something here.
There's one up
No,
on
there's one
the
here.
oh, that's the TV.
Oh, yeah, that's other than.
It's not plugged in.
He said it was. It's okay. Give me the phone.
I was gonna say.
No, only that, that's. a
Need that.
public comment. That's a public comment.
Oh,
It's there for public comment.
Oh, okay.
we can put it back up there, really. Okay, it's coming up
Just
soon.
stick it, just stick it like right there.
Stick that one closer. And that'll be okay.
Yeah, just stick that one on the table.
Closer. And then Brian has this one. We're good.
Yeah, but one of them needs to be for public comment.
That's
Anyone
fine.
here as well?
That one will be okay, you think?
Yeah, they'll hear it. I'll take that out.
Okay.
All right, are they all green, all mic screens? All right, it's 5 o'clock. We're gonna call the meeting to order. If everybody could please stand for the pledge of allegiance for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, Ms. Lawrence?
Mr. Venus.
Present.
Mr. LaScavitch.
Here.
Mr. Lombardo.
Here.
Mr. McDermott. Here. Mr. McGinley.
Present.
Mr. Carey.
Here.
Mr. Schnee.
Present.
Mr. Thornton.
Here.
Mr. Urban.
I'm here.
Mr. Willoughby.
Here.
Ms. Radel.
Here.
All present.
All present. Can I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So move.
Second, Liscavige.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstention? Opposed? Hearing none, the agenda is adopted. We have one item on the agenda today. Will be public comment on the one item. First, we have Mr. Gregaris.
Non-agenda item, I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry. Mr. Timborski, did I say that correctly?
Dombrowski. Oh, there you go.
Yes, Ken Timborski, Sugarloaf, Pennsylvania.
Thank you.
Wanted to just say one thing. I was here at the last meeting. It was my first time ever here. I served on the Hazleton School Board. Hazleton, I was president of the school board, served on council for Conyngham. Served on sewer and water authority as chairman. One of the things that we always had a rule, and the rule was, this is a step above them offices. One of them was not to embarrass, not to take advantage or hurt somebody. What I seen here last week was ugly. You had a person running for a position as you have three of them. And I gotta say, I know that person for probably 30 years. She's a very good person, very good person. The majority and the minority sit down at a table, and the minority polices the majority. That's their job. Not the other way around, and not to assassinate people who are trying to do a good job for the area. All I could say is in the several positions that I've seen, that lady, when she touches something, does turn to gold. She gives her heart and soul. And I just want to say, it's very important that you really take that into consideration. Mr. Lawton was here. You didn't have that. I remember the stories on you can go after you got done talking to you. I think you really got to take a look at this and stop worrying about what everybody says and do it for the right reason. Thank you.
Thank you. Martin Darto, Mr. Darto?
Non-agenda, right?
Oh, not agenda, sure. Sorry. Mr. Dombrowski?
Last meeting, Councilman Lescavage and Thornton admitted at the meeting that they were present on Sunday, March 20th with Udchak and an unknown number of other people. This was 2 days prior to the originally scheduled vote last Tuesday for a permanent county manager. Mr. Thornton is the chairman of the County Council Act 13 Grant Committee, and Mr. Lescavage is the vice chairman.
Mr. Dombrowski, you can't call out individual council members. You have to address council as a whole.
Okay. There are 3 members to that committee, so I'm addressing council that way. The people who attended this March 20th meeting, I'll say it that way, were a quorum of that committee, the Act 13 Grant Committee. As a quorum of that committee, they violated the Sunshine Act, and they violated it in the sense as follows. They didn't state when they were asked last time the exact times the meeting started and ended, the location where it took place, and who arranged that meeting. Neither did they notify the public to follow the Sunshine Act that there was a meeting coming up where the Act 13 Grant Committee would be involved. Nor did they provide an agenda in advance, nor did they provide the public with what's required to be audio and minutes after that said meeting. So again, they did violate the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act, and they also violated the oath of their office they took on January 2nd, which was as follows. You have to abide by the county charter. You have to abide by all Pennsylvania laws, Sunshine Act being a Pennsylvania law, and they have to abide by the laws of the United States. So my general conclusion here is that yourself, Ms. Radel, as the chairperson, have a fiduciary duty to discipline these 2 individuals. And the reason you have that fiduciary duty is because you're in a position of authority and money is involved. If you have council members doing something that may or may not be legal, and there's some question about that, then it's your responsibility to do something about that. So I ask you here today to either request Mr. Thornton and Mr. Lescavage to voluntarily abstain from voting on any council matters effective immediately until there could be an investigation into this meeting on the 20th.
Thank you, Mr. Dombrowski. The Sunshine Act does not apply to committees, but thank you for your time.
It does in fact apply to
It does
committees.
not.
It does in fact. I'm going to show you the law firm you
Okay.
can go to.
Thank you, Mr. Dombrowski. Mr. Newman,
I'm just going to finish with one thing.
you have
You
your
cut
3
me
minutes,
off
Mr.
improperly.
Dombrowski. 3
Go to
minutes.
this law firm Saul, that's S-A-U-L.
Mr. Dombrowski,
Dombrowski,
you
you
are
have
out of
3
order.
minutes. You have
Please sit
3
down.
minutes. Mr. Newman?
Thank you. When I get up here, I always try to be positive. Tonight I get up here with a little reluctance. Last meeting was chaotic, and I'll take some responsibility for that. And yes, I am a little embarrassed about it, but you folks ought to be very much embarrassed about it. To the Pittsonians, the West Pittsonians, and the Exeterians, you'll get your bridge. You'll get your bridge. Do it through the front door. Grants, appropriations. You don't need a quid pro quo to get your bridge. You'll get it. 3 months now, again, I'll repeat that. You're in authority for 3 months. You failed, you tried to embarrass yourself 2 meetings ago by taking something away from us. Fortunately, you were able to get out of that very nicely. Don't embarrass yourselves again. Gentleman just made a nice presentation, hit the nails on the head. And I'm very reluctant to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. It may be the last thing I ever say up here. You're here to select a manager, a county manager, a very important position, the most important position, non-elected position. I hope that you're not here, and each one of you listen to it. I hope you're not here tonight to set the stage to elect a future president of the Luzerne County Community College. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Newman. Mr. Fitzgerald?
Okay, today we find out which council members work for us, the citizens that want change and voted them in, and those that work for the connected and players in Luzerne County. I got involved in local politics about 3 months ago. I met with a few of you, met leaders of the Republican Party, talked to people of all walks of life, both Democrat, Republican, and not affiliated. I found one thing. I'm not as proud as to say I'm a Republican as I once was. I thought we were a party of integrity, Christians, honor, couldn't be bought, and we didn't make side deals. I was wrong. Don't misunderstand me. There are a lot of good people in the Republican Party, especially a few good ones on the council, which I have met, including the two gentlemen to my right. I think they have honor and integrity. Even though they met with someone, I don't think it was the other person's fault, not theirs. They want to make a difference, but they get beat down by the people in power. We need to thank them today for standing true, standing up for us. I thank you both. I found out that Democrat and Republican power players in Luzerne County pull strings, some politicians dance, little puppets, and the citizens lose. Well, not today. Today we stand up to you. Today council stands up to you. We have more than enough people on council that have integrity, that are not your puppets, that will not sell us out, and not the same old, same old. We are voicing our opinions. We're holding rallies. We're coming out and shouting, no more. I also found out heard by asking other counties, why they're starting up the hug up by keeping the acting county manager. Why is some of the Republican Party of Republican council so willing to sell out the voters out? Why did they keep the county manager after that? I heard a lot of bad things, especially after the children and youth fiasco, that she was over budget 5 years in a row. And she's saying that she's going to raise taxes. And then she hires a person in the Bureau of Elections that says there's not enough proof that drop boxes are safe, and that it's just misinformation, and that there's a greater likelihood of voter fraud. Even the DA is investigating a videotape of a person stuffing a ballot box at Wilkes-Barre. What's next? Are county workers spewing anti-police rhetoric, late-term abortions rhetoric, welfare and birth to death rhetoric? They said there's a lot of reasons why, but the basic reason is this: there's millions coming into this county right now, and the people that have been promised contracts and they would rather take a chance, they don't want to take a chance on a new guy. They know that they get the same old. That's 114 million ARP money, 24 million opioid money, 100 million infrastructure money. That's what this vote's about. Who's getting paid? And I honestly, and then there's some people that are friends with her, and some people actually think she's doing a good job. Okay, the first couple are disgusting if it's happened. Okay. The sixth, in my opinion, proves that we have blinders on, that we're the same type of person. I'm going to finish up real quick.
Just wrap up.
I will. Thank you so much. We're the same type of person that thinks that Joe Biden is doing well. As you can't change stupid, you can't change lives.
All right, thank you, Mr.
In the
Fitzgerald.
end, we're going to see how you individually vote, especially the people that are running for the 116 and 118.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Fitzgerald. Mr. Brennan?
There's a bunch of mics I gotta move. Is this okay, news guys? Okay, thank you. A lot of them. All right. Greg Brannon, Wright Township. Good evening, council. Thank you again for letting me speak tonight. I reiterated in my last remarks to you at the last meeting that you are at a crossroads. Tonight, you choose between the status quo and a change that the voters of Luzerne County overwhelmingly want and deserve. I have been trying to get an answer from the current acting county manager for over 2 weeks about ARP funds and the rules regarding thereof. I even reached out to a division head in her administration this past Thursday via email and again on Friday via voicemail. I could not get an answer directly from her or the division head. I want the answers to my question in writing because it protects the integrity of this administration and everyone who reads those answers. Again, have heard nothing. I would ask this council if refusing to answer a constituent's questions is acceptable of a county manager of a county administration. Is not answering your questions or emails acceptable? The answers to these questions should weigh heavily on your voting decision this evening. And I also will mention something that my dad always told me about leadership, because this is a big reflection tonight. An organization is only as good as the worst behavior the leader tolerates. And it's been my assertion that this administration tolerates a lot of bad behavior. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brennan. That was the end of the slips that I have. Any other members of the public wish to speak on the agenda item? Is that?
Yeah.
Sure. Just state your name and the municipality you reside in.
My name is Daniel Hunter. I think I live in Dallas Borough. I'm here tonight to address a number of concerns that I have at the potential of Romilda Crocomo becoming the permanent manager in Luzerne County. I'm an attorney. I practice in Luzerne County. I've practiced here my entire career. And until about 2 years ago, I was court-appointed counsel to represent parents whose children have been taken into custody by Children and Youth, the Luzerne County Dependency Court. In my course of representing parents in children and youth matters, I think it's safe to say I had about 2,500 cases in 3 years. In one such case, I came into possession of some evidence which purports to represent that there may be an ongoing system, ongoing habit of outside influences, not with children and youth, potentially strong-arming children and youth to fast-track certain cases such that foster parents can adopt children. This evidence was brought to the attention of Attorney Crocomo, who at the time was the solicitor for Luzerne County and the head attorney for Luzerne County Children and Youth. This was 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. To my knowledge, nothing was ever done on Romilda's part to address this concern. I don't know of any policy change that came from this. No one ever certainly raised the issue with me to ask what my concerns were from this evidence, which I unfortunately will not disclose here tonight because it contains information, names that I think are confidential. Another concern I have regards one of the statements Romilda made, Attorney Crocomo made during her interview 2 weeks ago, inferring that she was unaware of the allegations pending against Joanne Van Son, who has since been sentenced and was indicted over the summer, the former head of Luzerne County Children and Youth. I think it is incredulous to me that Attorney Crocomo was unaware of these allegations before the indictment became public in July of 2021. And even taking her at her word that she was unaware, I'm strained to think of how that would be any better than her awareness. This is a person who, for the better part of a decade, has been one of the higher ups in the dependency court system in Luzerne County. She served as an officer who presided over these hearings for 2 years. She was the chief attorney for Luzerne County Children and Youth for 5 years. And prior to serving as an officer, a hearing officer of the court, she was the clerk to the judge who presided over dependency matters. So either she was aware of it and did nothing, which is unacceptable, or she was not aware of it despite her high rank in the dependency system, which is frankly just as unacceptable. So I really think Luzerne County deserves better than a person who is
Thank you,
potentially.
Attorney Hunter.
Thank you.
Thank you. Members of the public? Sure, please.
I'm Lucy Morgan. I didn't plan on doing this, and on the integrity of Miss Crockamo, she actually asked me not to do it for fear of retribution. I'm a 32-year employee here at the county. So for 32 years, I've been through every county commissioner, every council member, every county manager. And I'll tell you right now that I feel, in my personal opinion, that she is the best of the best. I feel that we've moved forward. I feel that morale is high. And I feel like going in any other direction, no offense to any other candidate, that we would be pausing or stopping or going backwards. I think we're moving forward in this county. I think since county council has come into play, that a lot of good things have happened, a lot of good changes have happened. And I really think that we just have to move forward. And I honestly feel that she's the best candidate. So I hope that you will take the consideration. I know I speak for a lot of other county employees, to please consider the people that are the boots on the ground and that are doing the work. And you guys, none of you guys have an easy job, and neither do we, but I truly feel that she's the best one to support us and move us forward. So thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Ms. Morgan. Any other members of the public?
Ron Knapp from Nanticoke, Pennsylvania.
Go ahead, Mr. Knapp.
I wanted to address council in that it's important that we all come together and for the citizens of Luzerne County make this decision. Too many important things to be addressed with the county that have to be taken care of in a expedient fashion. And I'm happy I wasn't a part of any of the confusion that has transpired prior to this meeting. Let's prove to the Luzerne County citizens that when you tabled the option of possibly bringing a commission in to be presented and on the ballot in regards to the home rule charter being evaluated, let's settle this once and for all, and let's be adults and make the decision now so we can move forward with Luzerne County's problems with a manager in place. I take no sides in this matter. Thank you for your time, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Any other members of the public?
Madam Chair.
Yeah.
I have one response in regards to the violation of the Sunshine Act.
Sure, Mr. Oskavich.
So on 2 occasions, myself and Brian Thornton were invited to a Zoom meeting to attend with PennDOT. So that would clearly have been a violation then too, because that involved funding, how much we were responsible for as the county, the state.
The committees don't, the Sunshine Act.
I understand, but I want to tell them that this wasn't the first time that him and I we actually got invited to Zoom meetings with PennDOT together. So I don't think they violate the Sunshine Law. So just want to throw that out.
Sunshine Act does cover communities, you understand, I have a printout right here.
Okay.
From Melissa Maluski, she's an attorney.
Thank you. Mr. Carr?
Good evening. My name is Jason Carr from Sailorsburg, Pennsylvania. I'm just a janitor that works very hard, and I greatly appreciate you allowing me to speak tonight. I just wanted to say, if we remember 50 years ago, there was an incident called Watergate that took place where Deep Throat, member of the FBI, told Carl Bernstein, a writer for the Washington Post, to follow the money. Follow the money. We know where the money's at. We know that the county has $100 million of American Rescue Plan funds. We know that the county has $24 million of opioid settlement money coming to its coffers. And we also know that there's $110 million, according to Mr. Udicek, in federal infrastructure money coming from the state of Pennsylvania. from the federal government. We know that. That's the reason why the courthouse insiders want Romilda Crocomo hired. There's 10 Republicans that sit here tonight. The decision was already made to hire someone other than Romilda back in November, when the people of Luzerne County voted for these 10 members. Do the right thing tonight. Romilda's record, along with Mr. Pedri, they were like this. They were buddies, interchangeable in governing Luzerne County. Let me go over quickly some of the items that over the last 5 years have determined her record. We have the children and youth scandal that just recently happened. We have the Shaheen Mackey murder at the county prison. We've had 9 prisoner suicides. We've had deteriorating roads and infrastructure throughout Luzerne County with bridges and roads that are undrivable. We've had the misuse of the auto registration funds. We've had US military ballots thrown away. And sadly, the saddest part and the last one are an innocent prison guard was killed on county property. And out of all those 7 instances that I just read to you, not one person lost their job in this county. You know I'm right. Do the right thing. The decision was already made in November.
Thank you, Mr. Fox.
Thank you.
Any other members of the public?
Brian Shiner.
Someone on the Zoom?
Hello?
Hello?
Brian Shiner.
Go ahead, Mr. Shiner.
Over a decade and a half ago, came to light in this county the actual degree of corruption that existed. It ended up into the kids for cash situation, which acquired for us the notoriety of being the most corrupt county in the entire nation. Following all of that, the people of this county voted for change. They voted for a new form of government, home rule. Home rule promised a lot. Promised qualifications for employees that are hired, honor, ethics, transparency, accountability, integrity. But in the 10 years of home rule, we've seen a lot of that fading away. What was promised is not happening. A majority of you Republicans were elected this past November because, again, the people want change. They don't like the way the county's going, and they want it to go in a different direction. The backroom deals that have gone on for years in this country, in this county, still go on. Shakers and the movers are there, trying to influence and push you to vote the way they want for their own purposes. You're not there for that. You're there to vote for the best interests of the entire county. And that means choosing the right candidate tonight. If that candidate wants more money, well, $40,000 is a drop in the bucket for some of the money we wasted in this county over the years, especially the past 10. So tonight, your vote will decide whether we maintain our scarlet letter C for corruption, or whether we actually move this county forward the way home rule promised. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shiner. Ms. Velez?
Good evening, Marianne Velez, Duryea. I would like to second Mr. Gronkowski's motion to ask the 2 council members to abstain from tonight's vote. And I would hope that the chair of the council would adhere to the sunshine law. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Velez. Any other members of the public?
Madam Chair, can I say something really quick?
Sure.
I apologize. I understand that this decision is obviously very important for everybody here tonight. It's not lost on any single council member. But one thing that I don't like, and I know that there are members of the public out here, know that I do not like disrespect. And I do not like when people call out other members of council, have accusations that they made backroom deals and accusations of corruption. I can tell you throughout my entire adult life, I have fought against corruption. And I know that every single person at this table has integrity and wants to see the best for this county. It is not fair to accuse anybody at this table of corruption because that's just not accurate.
I didn't accuse anybody of corruption.
Thank you, Mr.
And I have
Lombardo.
to handle it here for you.
Mr. Gregorius?
Stop your nonsense.
Can I kindly hand out the 12 copies I made to each of the council members or to Sharon and let her pass them out?
Sharon
Can I
can
do that?
Sharon can pass them out, but please let Mr. Gregorius speak while you do so, okay?
yeah, Sure.
This
Thanks.
is different than a non-agenda item, but just procedurally, is there a solicitor online now that could say, is
That's
that a
what we should
violation of
have.
the Sunshine Act or not?
That's what you have.
There is,
No, just a speculation.
That's right.
there is
that's
a
what you need.
solicitor, yeah. Let me see.
I'm here. Yes, I'm here if you want me to weigh in. So the
Could you
sunshine,
please,
I'm sorry.
go ahead, please.
Okay, so the Sunshine Act does not apply to committees. If you go to any other municipality or authority, they do not have their committee meetings open to the public. Why Luzerne County does is because that's what the council bylaws procedures say to do. So from what I'm hearing tonight, there's an alleged violation that the Act 13 Grant Fund Committee held a meeting. I don't think it was the Act 13 Grant Committee or information that was discussed. If council members had discussions with items unrelated to Act 13, that would not be a Sunshine Act violation. I mean, it's not a Sunshine Act violation anyway. If it was an Act 13 meeting that wasn't advertised and held out to the public, then it would be a violation of the council bylaws. But I wasn't at the meeting. I don't know what was discussed, but it does not sound like it was an Act 13 meeting.
Thank you, Attorney Craig Wilkes-Barre.
Madam Chair, could I
Mr. Thornton. go
quick
ahead.
comment in defense of myself and Mr. Miscavige? Kevin and I have known each other for almost 20 years as very good friends. I'm at his house, he's at my house. I probably go to dinner when he and his better half with my wife probably once a week. We've probably been together in the last 3 months since we were sworn in, probably 25 times. I don't think because we serve on council, we have to give up those kind of things with good friends and going to dinner. Also, on March 20th, I was at a fraternal organization watching March Madness, which I have every year for 30 years, the last 25 years at that location. That's why I was there that day, and that's why Kevin was there that day. Yeah, there was other people there. There was a lot of people around the bar, strangers to this group here. But certainly, I could say for the record, yeah, I am chairman of the Act 13 committee, and we haven't had a meeting yet. So I have to meet with Brian Sweats and figure out everything I'm supposed to do as chairman of the Act 13 committee.
Thank you, Mr. Thornton. Any other members of the public have a comment on this agenda item only?
No, not agenda, non-agenda, okay? Because it's
So then-
eating me apart,
Then
okay?
non-agenda, you could speak at the end of the meeting.
Okay,
then.
thank you.
Okay. All right. So hearing no more public comment, we have the first item on the agenda. It's a motion to adopt a resolution appointing the county manager. We need a motion to open nominations.
Motion being second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, nominations are open.
I nominate Ramilda Crocomo.
I nominate Randy Robertson.
Is there a second for?
Second.
Thank you.
I nominate Randy Robertson.
I'll second that, Lovich.
Okay, do we have a motion to close nominations?
Second, Urban.
First McDermott, second Urban. All in favor?
Aye.
Abstentions? Opposed? Okay, we have two two nominees, Mr. Robertson or Ms. Crocomo, please, if we could do a roll call vote and council members state your choice.
On the question, if I could, please.
Go ahead, Ms. McKinley.
According to the charter, these are the qualifications for manager. He or she shall be appointed on the basis of executive abilities and administrative qualifications as evidenced by professional preparation, training, and experience in public administration, finance, and or other fields that demonstrate substantial ability to perform the functions of county manager. Randy Robertson has a master's degree in public administration, master's degree in strategic planning, certificate in business administration, executive leadership and management program, plus senior executive fellowship from Harvard University, City Managers Association, Personnel Managers Association, Masters of Public Administration Advisory. He has a university instructor. He was a university instructor for under and graduate levels for management, leadership, project management, organizational behavior, and negotiations. These are just some of his qualifications. He also has a ton of experiences utilizing his education. Randy has a strategic plan, which he handed out at his interview. With his education, training, and experience, I believe he could get our county running like a well-oiled machine. He also has a military background, which is another great quality. Military service creates individuals who work to earn the respect of their peers and understand how to bring people together to pursue strategic common goals. It teaches problem solving and decision-making, organization, quick thinking, leadership, teamwork, the ability to take direction, and to adapt to take action. I know people are worried about bringing in a person from the outside of the area, and the time that it may take for the person to get familiar with the county. Council didn't tell the manager search committee to limit the search to just Luzerne County applicants. So why now are people all upset that we may hire an out of the county person? Wasn't our goal to attract the best candidates to choose from? Is a candidate only viable because he or she is one of us? Would all candidates in the running, would all the candidates be in the running if it were another home rule county? Because if not, then he or she should not be in the running here. I will ask anyone, especially business owners, to answer this question. Who would you pick to run your company? Someone who has been doing the job and is familiar with it, or someone who can take your company to the next level? Now I ask all of you, who should we hire to take our county to the next level?
Thank you, Ms. McDermott. Roll call,
On the
please.
question. I've ran for council 3 times. I lost twice. I won this last time. When I ran from the beginning, it was all about changing the status quo. Status quo is a word that's come up a lot here in this audience. The last few weeks, I've been out collecting signatures for other candidates for offices. I've spoken to hundreds of residents all across the county. The words they say, we want change. We want status quo. We don't want the status quo. We want to change the status quo. I've talked to so many people. In the last 2 elections, we've had 2 Democrats and 10 Republicans win. That wasn't by design. It was by the will of the people. The people in this room, the people out in the streets of Luzerne County, that is who I represent. This is a representative form of government. I represent what the people want. When people want change, they've spoken. Actions have consequences. I hope you all think about that tonight before you take your vote. Thank you.
Roll call, Ms. Lawrence.
Mr. Venus,
Randy Robertson.
Mr. LaScavitch,
Randy Robertson.
Mr. Lombardo,
Ms. Crocomo.
Ms. McDermott,
Mr. Robertson.
Mr. McGinley,
I'm very proud to support Romilda Crocomo.
Mr. Perry,
Attorney Crocomo.
Mr. Schneek,
Attorney Crocomo.
Mr. Thornton,
Randy Robertson.
Mr. Urban,
Robertson.
Mr. Wilovich,
Mr. Robertson.
Ms. Radel.
Attorney Crocomo.
5 for Ms. Crocomo, 6 for Mr. Robertson.
Okay, neither candidate reached a supermajority of 7 votes. So council will have to move forward with a decision on how we're going to handle this. We are now open to public comment on non-agenda items. Non-agenda. Go.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I was here last week, and as far as I'm concerned, everything went smooth. I didn't do anything wrong. Thursday, I addressed one councilman. I brought a piece from the paper about the 51 grants that was in the paper where Jennifer put in, and I thought I was doing the right thing. Friday, I'm eating my supper and a knock on the door, 3 policemen claimed that I threatened one of the councilmen. And I'll tell you what, I grew up in Pittston from 1948 until I moved to Exeter in 78. Mr. Lombardo can ask any of his friends in Pittston. I was in the fire department. I was a Navy veteran. I was never in trouble in my life. I moved to Exeter in 78, never in trouble in my life. Now all of a sudden, I'm gonna be charged with threatening people. Well, I told the cops what I seen and what I did. They walked away. Yesterday, I met with the county detectives. I told them the story, and nobody should be up against this. Just because you come and ask a couple things that you think is doing the right thing, like everybody had the right to vote. These 10 people had a right to vote, which they expressed their feeling. Well, I didn't do anything wrong last week, so I wish nobody else gets threatened with cops at their door. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCabe. Other members of, Mr. Carr, were you standing up before? No, okay. Any other members of the public?
Today I met someone for lunch and I thought it'd be fit to tell you all this story. I met this person for lunch and I said, you know, there's a difference. Our party, the Republican Party, has split. It is different. It's splintered. You all may not see it, but I see it. We have the Republican Party, the old Republican swamp party. And I'm sure you've heard of the Red Wave. Well, the Red Wave is the Patriot Party. That is the Patriots. Those are the ones that do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, not because they were bought out, talked to, spoken to, supported by another candidate. Remember that, because it is coming, the Red Wave. And those Republicans that do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, they're going to overtake the swamp and wash it right out. Keep that in mind, guys.
Any other members of the public? Mr. Newman. Sorry, Mr. Darko, we'll get you next.
I'm sorry, I said last time would be the last time, but sometimes I just can't. Sometimes I just can't resist. I was gonna say this the first time. You're 10 Republicans and you can't come to consensus? What's wrong? 10 of you and can't find 7 votes. You're getting as bad as the Pennsylvania Republicans and God forbid the national Republicans. My father used to have a saying. He says, you know, there's Republicans and there's country club Republicans. And the country club Republicans, the hardest thing they ever did was what were they going to have to lunch and were they going to have a martini or a Manhattan? Now, what does that mean? Don't become country club Republicans. You had an opportunity tonight to give the folks in the county what they wanted. Change. Change. Why can't you come to consensus? I'm disappointed in those of you who voted the way you did. Really disappointed. My question, where do we go from here? Are you going to have another search committee? Some of you voted for one of the out-of-town candidates. Is he still a viable option, or is his name gone by the boards? I think, folks, you made a mess. You've made a mess.
Thank you, Mr. Newman. Mr. Darko?
Good evening, everyone. Member of council and the citizens. What's the matter with you guys and girls? We want to know. They can't come up with 7 votes? Whose pocket getting fat enough Tonight was a rough decision. And you guys shall live with the consequences. We know who the rhinos are. We need a true Republican and a true Republic to represent this county. You heard the voice of the people. She is unqualified. Her track record shows. There's been a lot of wicked stuff going on throughout while she was underneath their padre. You messed up big time. Big time. And I hope each and every individual dig deep into your soul. But we will not stop until things is right. To move this county in the right direction for the benefit of the taxpayer. God bless you all.
Any other members of the public?
General, one more thing, if you don't mind. I think it would ease pressure here in this.
You had your 3 minutes.
Well, some guys got up twice already. It might ease tension here, you know?
May I go up and say something so quick about non-agenda?
Non-agenda, yes.
I just wanted to be real quick and ask the question, now that the vote is,
Tension, you know?
Well, let Mr. Brennan speak, please.
and then now that the votes happened, I just kind of wanted to ask a question to anybody that would want to answer. What happens from here? Is there a second vote? Do we go back to search? Does anyone know? And that's all I'm asking. Thank you.
I'll just comment on it briefly. It's this has not happened. It's unprecedented. So I think, we'll have to work with the Office of Law. We all have to take another deep look at the charter and figure out where we go from here. So there are some discussions that need to be had. Like I said, this is kind of uncharted territory. It has never happened before. So we will figure it out and we'll be transparent, just like we did the interviews in public. We'll make sure the public is aware of the next steps as soon as we know what the correct course is. Mr. Urban.
Ron Knapp from Nanticoke, Pennsylvania.
Let him go first.
Go ahead, Mr. Knapp.
I wanted to piggyback on what Chairwoman Radel just stated. This all is in regards to calling out the Home Rule Charter. This is not scripted. This is me speaking from the heart. I've always been a conservative all my life, and council members that have obtained their seat on council with a conservative platform should vote in a conservative manner. I will state this again. My opinion is this is nothing short of a filibuster. And this is typical of legislators who will try to drag their feet to try to interfere with the process that is working. The Home Rule Charter does work with its foundation of accountability and bringing Luzerne County's debt down. And that's through conservatism. I ask you to come together, because what this is going to do is going to bring to the head and take off the table the motion that was brought prior. And that's the whole gist of this. Your attempt to say Home Rule Charter doesn't work, but it does. Come together, the adults, and vote on the conservative platform that you were voted in on. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Mr. McCabe.
1 minute.
Like 30 seconds. You already spoke.
Thank you. You're generous. But what I want to bring up is Mr. Perry, Mr. Snead, McDermott's been here a couple of years. No, what I'm saying is, why can't we put it up for a vote on the election and take all the tension off all these councilmen? I don't think the tension should be on top of you. I don't know if it's permissible to do something like that. Bring it up and let the people decide who's going to do it.
Thank you, Mr. McCabe.
Okay.
Mr. Fitzgerald, and then Mr. Gregarious. We'll get to everybody.
No, mine's different from that issue, so.
Okay. Well, I have a new quote. We got the solid 6. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate you being stuck on. What the voters wanted. You're not puppets. And by the way, I dropped off these things to each one of the committee members. It's a change of registration. So the people that voted for a Democrat and also the Democratic way, you could switch to Democrats if you feel like it tomorrow. Okay, like they said, they have consequences. Now here's the thing. The next steps are this. From what I understand, you need a 6-5 vote to get rid of the chair and the acting chair. I think that the solid 6 should just move that right away next week. We need better with Republican, people up there. So this way we have someone that sets the agenda, that sets it for the people and not for whatever. The next thing is, even though we had a 6-5 majority, we lost because the 5 keep the acting county manager. So they won today. The minority won, and they know it. This is a chess game. This is a game, and they knew it. Now the person that was the best qualified, he's going to get a job in another county. So where are we at now? We're 6-8 months down the road. All that money, it's gone. They win. Citizens lose. You guys use these, please, because we're going to let the people who are voting. I know that a couple of you guys are running for office, and I know another person that has grand aspirations. This is going to haunt you guys. Thank you, guys.
As an inspiring elected official, I could see the tension and the remorse, and we have to live with our decisions, and everybody knows why they made their decision. And I want to give credit to everybody for making that decision in their heart and in their head for the best interest of what they feel is representing their constituents. But my issue I'd like to talk about now is the ARP funding for the small businesses that's been tabled for a while. I'm trying to figure out the process of getting that on the agenda. Following the last meeting, I was addressed by a council person that told me that they're trying to get it on the agenda, but there is not enough votes to get it on the agenda. I just am trying to learn the format or who do I have to lobby or call to get the small business money out in the community where we need it. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Gregarious. Any other members of the public? I see a hand. I can't see a face. Oh, Mr. Griffith.
Thank you. Tough vote tonight. The acting manager is now basically the manager by default, as Mr. Carr just alluded to, or Mr. Fitzgerald. This council did not appoint the acting county manager. The prior council did. I think you guys have a job to do. It's obviously the consensus. The majority did not want Ms. Crocomo as the new manager. He would have got the 7 votes. I would suggest at your next meeting, you bring a resolution to remove her and put somebody else in that position, because the majority didn't want her in there in the first place. Obviously, didn't get the 7 votes, but the sad part about it is we lost an awful lot of money doing a lot of search and an awful lot of time of taxpayers' resources to come to a stalemate. And I get the fact that, it requires 7 in our charter, but I think we're up to about $30,000 in the county to do the search, flying people in. We have a qualified candidate who we may lose or may not lose, depending on how council acts on the upcoming issue at hand as to how you're going to handle this. But I don't think that Mr. Robertson's going to sit around and wait for us to decide what we're going to do based on the display of action tonight. He's going to say, you know what, I'm glad I didn't get picked, maybe, because we can't get a consensus from council on how we want to run this county. Apparently, if he has any kind of knowledge at all, he's going to look at this council and say, you guys can't make a decision that you want to go forward in this county. So why would I even want to be sitting there as the manager? And I don't know how that's going to fare out for us if we have to form a new search committee to find somebody to come here to try and run this county. We may be stuck with the current manager because nobody else will apply based on the display that this council has done the last 2 votes. And I think that's really sad, because this county really needs to have somebody in that position They can run this county and run it efficiently, as well as run it effectively. And if you put an application process out there and a search committee out there, God bless them. They'll probably bang their head off the desk trying to get people to apply based on the display that we've just seen here in the last couple of weeks. So I think it's really sad, but I think the immediate issue for this council now is to replace the manager you have now with somebody else, because this council majority does not want her in there, even though you didn't get the 7 votes. So I think you have your job cut out for you, and I just wish you well in your endeavors, and it's just too bad we lost the money in such a critical fashion. So thank you.
Any other members of the public?
Just to follow up, can you tell me how I can get that on the agenda, or how it will be on the next agenda, or if so, when, about the small business ones?
The small business funds, yeah, well, if you want to email me, we can discuss it. So it was tabled twice. So that's why it's just not on the agenda as of now. It would have to be removed from the table. And while it might have the support to pass once it's on the agenda, I don't know if it has the support to come off the table. So we could try to figure that out in the interim, okay?
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other members of the
Brian
public?
Shiner.
Mr. Shiner, go ahead.
It's a sad day for Luzerne County. Randy Robertson was one of the best candidates that's ever applied for a manager's job under home rule. And your vote tonight just stalemates this county. When are you going to start listening to what the people want, the people that put you there? Stop going along with the same old of trying to keep this county back in prehistoric times. As I said earlier, your vote tonight will determine whether we maintain our scarlet letter C for corruption or not, and I guess we're going to keep it for a while longer. On another note, at the meeting the other week, it was brought up about the demonstration outside the courthouse. Yes, I was dressed as the Grim Reaper, and I will do it again. And my appearance there and my purchasing that costume had nothing to do with anyone else having a rally. I would have been there with or without those other people. And I would have done exactly as I did. The sign, the costume. I've done it before. I will do it again. Best I can tell you is hopefully it's not at your next election, because I will be out again. I don't go away. I may be quiet for a while, but I'm still here. And I really would appreciate this council getting away from the mob mentality and moving on for what the people want, not what the powers and shakers want. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shiner. Any other members of the public?
There's a follow-up.
Quickly.
All right.
Go ahead, just briefly. You had your 3 minutes, so just really quickly. That's all.
Yeah, there's a follow-up. I know that prior to our interview, she did mention that she knows powerful people. And we all saw in the paper that one of our powerful people came over, DJ, and influenced, manipulate and influence member of council. So here's that's my message to you, DJ. Stay in your position.
Thank you, Mr.
You have no business.
Thank you,
in
Mr.
Luzerne
Darto.
County.
Thank
to
you.
Influence any council member.
Mr. Darto, thank you. I gave you your 3 minutes and I gave you a little bit extra. Thank you, Mr. Darto. Mr. Urban.
This is a testament of strength and I guess chess, the political chess. And I know, 20 some years ago, as a young Republican, I served with, DA and a few others in the county. I know I've been a member of a committee, leader of a committee. Walter Griffith has served. Greg has taken the reins in some respects. And sometimes it is about politics and people. I can tell you from my position tonight that I voted from the heart on the best qualified candidate that I thought was one of the best that we probably ever had here. And, not to forget, he also has a FEMA background and we have a river right behind us. I do take issue when we put Rimilda in place last year, and I was not a vote at that point. I was in the nay for her as acting. That the first acting county manager Luzerne County had was Mr. Tom Prabula. He was a former county employee who was then voted in as acting manager from the first council. And I was part of that first council. So I do take issue with the office of law stating that the acting county manager has to come from within the reins of this county employment, or has to be an employee of this county. Because Mr. Prabula was in the county as a chief budget, I think, officer at that time.
He was the finance.
Or the finance manager, but he left county employment. You know, he was gone for a while and then they picked him to come back. Right? So there was a lapse in his employment within Luzerne County. So the six of us, I think, do have a job to do. I'm hoping that we can have a consensus to change the acting county manager in the next couple of weeks so the people can get what they want. You know, it is sometimes a political game here, and we probably will have to fight the office of law. And if Mr. Schnee wins his election in next week, there's going to be a vacancy over there that's going to be very critical. And I'm sure the fight's going to be over who we're going to pick, whether it's going to be a registered Republican or a Democrat. You know, and then that will be looked at very closely if he should prevail. You know, so hang tight. I think we can still get to the end goal of changing the county manager in the right direction, or at least in the qualified direction, with or without the minorities' help. So we can go from there.
Thank you, Mr. Urban. Ms. Velez?
Thank you, Council, for giving me another opportunity to speak. I would like to make one statement. The amount of money that has been wasted to hire the new county manager could have been utilized in several sectors of the community. The amount of time that has been wasted is a disgrace. I will second the motion from numerous citizens of Luzerne County that this is just another blemish on Luzerne County. I truly hope after tonight's meeting, the county council can sit and discuss how to move forward and to hire the best qualified candidate. The public has spoken. They do not want this Crocomo. The majority of the council has spoken, and I truly hope when we hear from the county council that it is Mr. Robertson who has been hired as our county manager. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Velez. Any other members of the public?
She's a Democrat. Can I follow up on one item?
I let someone else, so I could give you like 10 seconds. Go ahead, Mr. Newman, quickly.
The last remark I made was the danger of an individual who is lobbying for a future job. It's his dream job. Don't fall into that trap.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Newman.
I'll take 10 seconds.
From right there, right there.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, because, yeah,
Okay,
we've got a lot.
Basically, I think that you can't rely on the office of law, because the mill was actually, used to be the head of office of law, golf friends. I think you all need your own lawyer.
Thank you, Mr. Fitzgerald. Any other members of the public who did not speak? Okay, briefly, I just want to make a comment. I normally don't comment as chair. Other council members do, and I do not. I just want to get it out there. And those of you who supported another candidate, this answer is not going to appease you, but I would just like everybody to know that I truly voted for Attorney Crocomo because I believe that she is the most qualified. No phone calls were made to convince me of that.
We're out of here.
We have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Abstentions, opposed? Have a good night.
Yeah, I want to adjourn. I want to hear a lot more.
Please get your act together.
Record.